America. So if you work with us, if you decide to work with us, and we complete a transaction for you, we'll donate 10 meals to Feeding America on your behalf. We're over 100,000 meals. I think we're approaching like 200,000 meals that we've donated. And we've got a goal of a million. All right. So we've created a really cool, simple digital application you can apply from your phone or desktop. No need to print and fill out any type of applications. We do a secure bank connection, so we can connect right to your business bank account, pull in all that financial info, and then you can securely upload additional, either your bank statements or financial info, P&Ls, tax returns, if we need it, right to our portal. So everything's super secure and you don't have to email it. Because of our technology, we process transactions and applications 24/7, which is really great. And we utilize our lender and financing match technology. So basically, when you apply with us, we pull all that information in. We do a soft pull on your credit so it doesn't affect your credit. We look at all that information, and between our technology and smart people here in our office, we get you matched to a lender, and that can happen very quickly, minutes and hours. And then we have API integrations with a number of our top lending partners. So that basically simply means in layman tech terms, our systems are connected to lenders' underwriting systems. We pull all your information in one place, and by click of a button, we can send it out to multiple lenders, and those lenders can give us back decisions, again, in hours and days. It's very quick. And everyone that we work with on our platform is business focused. So if it's an SBA lender, we work with some of the nation's leading non-bank SBA lenders. And all that means is they don't do checkings and savings. They just strictly do SBA deals. So they move things through the pipeline very fast, where you can get an SBA at your bank, but usually it moves very slow. And usually the people that you're speaking with at the bank really have no clue about underwriting, nor can speak to the underwriters. So you can't really get any type of valuable feedback. We have a proprietary calculator here where we'll run your tax returns and information through, and it's about 98% accurate if you'll qualify for an SBA deal or not. And we'll do that up front, so we don't have to go through the whole submission process if you're not going to qualify. And more importantly, if you don't qualify, we'll tell you why. And what you can do to get there, and then we'll work on something else. And then typically most of our financing agreements are digital. So again, you can sign them right from your phone, which is really convenient. And we respect your time and making it as convenient as possible for you guys. So the top financing products, and our top of the list are business lines of credit. We do those secured or unsecured, so with real estate or without real estate. We do a lot of them without real estate. And you can get typically a business line of credit now up to about $250,000 without real estate. And if you've got quality receivables or really high cash flow, or really good cash flow, we can go higher than $250,000. We do inventory lines of credit, business term loans with terms out to about 3 years, purely based on cash flow, not real estate. Business advances, which are for certain industries and certain businesses make a lot of sense. And then AR lines of credit, leveraging your receivables. We have we're doing a lot more of AR lines. Right now we have term sheets out for $2 million, $7 million, and $5 million, leveraging quality receivables. We work with all industries, all across the country in all 50 states, and we work with all credit profiles. If you've got excellent credit, been in business for a long time, we've got really competitive products and programs for you. If you've challenged your credit building your business, we get that and respect it, or challenged it fighting through COVID, we completely get that. And we can still work with you, and we'll focus on where your business is now, but more importantly, where it's going. And we can utilize compensating factors, and we don't just focus on personal credit. We do transactions.
If I could just interject a quick second, when you mentioned that, I've gotten those questions before. If I've got excellent credit, Izzy, why wouldn't I just go to my local bank, or something like that? Can you give some perspective on that, where could be a great fit with NBC?
It's actually a great question. People ask it all the time. So perfect example is we've got a great customer right now. They are a distributor of activewear, footwear. They have a line with B&B. B&B loves them, but B&B cannot increase their line, one, fast enough. What BNB is now Dime Bank, and not to they're a great bank, but their bank can't give them money quick enough, and their asset coverage is kind of out of where most banks would be comfortable. But they're growing, and we see that growth. Person's been in business, it's a family business that started in the 70s, great business. And the owner has 800 credit, and they just are growing so fast. So long story short, we were able to leverage their receivables and get them a $7 million facility, and also do a term loan for $3 million. So $10 million worth of funding. That's really way out of most banks' comfort zones. Now, that's a really very big and large transaction, but the same thing works for companies that are doing maybe $1 million or $2 million in sales. You're doing $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million sales. You'll probably get from a Bank of America or Chase or a typical brand name bank, $100,000, $250,000, maybe $500,000. And then once you kind of hit that $500,000 credit line bucket, unless you've got really high quality B2B receivables, it can get really challenging with the bank. They may be able to increase it, but it can sometimes just take too long, and it's a fatiguing process. So, we'll sometimes say to keep that in place, and then we'll pull in another type of lender, or we might have to pull a lender in and take that out. But usually most companies just growing too quick, and don't have the collateral coverage that banks will need. But they've got an opportunity to grow and buy more product, or take more market share, and that's really where we come in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you for that. And if you're just joining us, again, we're with Joe and Dominic of NBC, and they're going over just some strategies and ways you can leverage what they do to help small businesses with credit lines and access capital. Also, there's some great questions coming in to me directly, and we will definitely open up questions just so you guys know. So hang tight, and I'll open those up to Joe as appropriate and as they come in, and for Dominic, and we'll get to them towards the end of the presentation here. Thanks so much for that. Go ahead, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, and keep dropping your questions in the chat, and I would love to answer them. Happy to answer them at the end. And just so you know, NBC stands for National Business Capital, not NBC the network.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Just in case you're joining. So our ideal client profile is, we really like to see people in business for 1 year. So not a long time in business, just a simple 1 year history. We've worked with companies that have been in business 6 or 9 months and are growing really fast. Another wholesale distributor that we've worked with was in business for 9 months, and we're able to do a $3 million line against the receivables. So, if you're growing and the sales are there, we can, we'll work with you. We'd like to see annual gross revenue at least 250,000. That's bare minimum. But our ideal customers do anywhere from 1 to 10 million, $1 to $20 million in sales. That's really our ideal customer. And then, really what we're seeing now is like banks are really focusing on companies doing 20 million plus in sales, 50 million plus in sales. So is private equity. So, there's a real gap that's been created, and we're focusing on those customers, and as they're growing fast. Again, credit profiles, challenge credit to excellent credit. Top industries. If it's not on here, it doesn't mean we don't work with you, but our top industries are construction, contractors, e-commerce, professional service, manufacturing, wholesale distributors, transportation, medical, primary care, dentists, and then restaurants, retail. And people now are back to expanding. They're making purchases again for their businesses. They're buying inventory, remodeling, marketing campaigns, payroll expenses, hiring new employees. These are the typical things that we're helping customers with. So a product, one product that I mentioned earlier is our business term loan. So our term loan's really great. Terms out to 2 and 3 years, which is great. We can get decisions in literally the same day by doing our digital application process. It's really fast. We have weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly payments available. Some customers prefer to reduce, basically have a smaller payment come out more frequently versus one big payment a month. We can structure them, a number of ways. No prepayment penalties. We can structure it where if you do pay off early, you get a discount for that. You only need a minimum of a 600 FICO score. Again, 1 year time in business. You need to be doing at least 300,000 in sales. That's the minimum. The more you do in sales, the higher the approval. What's really cool is we can do these approvals up to about 2.5 million, and some guidelines just changed where we can go up to $5 million without real estate on a term loan. So really great, really competitive rates and terms, and a really great product if you're doing a set thing with your business, have a set growth plan, remodeling, acquiring a company. A lot of customers are doing it for utilizing a term loan for things like that. Moving along, and I'm going to move quickly just to respect everyone's time. If there's a question that comes up, you're not sure of something, just drop it in the chat and we'll get to it at the end. So secured business lines of credit. What's really great, most people don't realize that everyone thinks of secured as like a real estate. And assets are really three things in your business. Real estate, can be an asset. Your receivables, B2B receivables, not consumer receivables, but B2B receivables, like if you're selling to Walmart, Target, or other decent sized brand names, doesn't have to be a brand name company, but a B2B company, that's an asset. Those receivables are an asset. And most people don't realize that you can leverage those receivables to get financing. So we do that all the time. And then big pieces of equipment can also is also an asset in your business. Equipment and real estate are usually pretty obvious for people, but most people don't realize that those receivables can be leveraged. And really competitive rates too, quality B2B receivables. We can do credit lines, prime plus 2-3% that grow with your business. So let's just say you're doing, we'll just use $100,000 a month in receivables. You can leverage 80 to 90% and access that money on a reoccurring basis. If you grow receivables up to $1 million, you'll have access to $950,000. If you grow up to 10 million, you'll have access to probably $9 million. So really great product, and it really grows with your business. And we're not really focused. Most lenders here are not focused on your FICO score or your time in business. You're just focused on the quality of receivables. So if you're growing, a lot of transportation companies, a lot of companies, we're working with a company that does tech builds. They build all really cool apps, and they've got their team that's doing the work, and they're building apps for big brand name companies or B2B companies. And they've got to lay out the salaries to build the technology to their tech team. And then once work's completed, they invoice, and they've got to wait 30 to 60 days to get paid on an invoice. We can leverage those receivables and get you a really competitive line that really grows with your company. So
related
yep.
to what someone would call a UCC lien.
What's that?
Is that related to what just with the other types of assets and receivables? Is that what you would call a UCC lien? Just a
UCC lien can get filed on a business for multiple types of financing, and in that lien will make up what it's secured against. So if we did a credit line that was secured against receivables, we would file, the lender would file a UCC against the business that is utilizes the receivables as collateral. So those receivables would be backed by the company would basically guarantee those receivables, and that would be the collateral. So there could be UCC filing for real estate, for a number of things. So it's kind of like a lien against your house, but a UCC filing can be against a number of things. Sometimes, you may have like an SBA loan, and the SBA loan will do a blanket lien in your business. So it'll be against like the business, against the receivables, and also against inventory. And we've been very successful with working with other lenders, whether it's your bank or an SBA deal, where we're bringing another lender in and subordinating and making the lenders work together. So for instance, we have an SBA deal right now where we're pulling in a receivables lender, and the SBA is releasing the receivables to that lender so the company can keep growing, and they're working together, which is great. We've also worked with lenders where the lender has the receivables as collateral, and we can work an agreement out where they'll release the inventory and we can leverage that inventory. We have another deal right now. They've got $7 million in inventory, and we're we're giving them $3 million credit line against that inventory. So, there's some really cool things that you can do. Most of our competition doesn't understand a lot of this stuff, and a lot of the brokers out there just stick to one program or product. We kind of work with many, and we also are very big with bringing lenders together, and them working as a team, which is really great. My team's really good at having those conversations and pulling the right folks together. So another great product is an unsecured business line of credit, which most people don't realize are available today. It's purely based on cash flow. You don't need to have B2B receivables for this. You don't need to have real estate. We can go up to about $250,000. We can get this approved in under 24 hours and get you funded very quickly. We really need to see 1 to 2 years of time in business, and we like to see $300,000 a year in sales. Again, those are the minimums. Minimum 600 FICO score here. And obviously, the better your credit, the better the terms, the better your sales, the larger the approval. It's a real simple formula there. Business Advance, we utilize these. Some companies, these can get very ridiculously expensive and don't make sense for the business. But there are some lenders out there that actually have some very competitive pricing and terms around business advances. Depending on your situation, these products can actually make a lot of sense. There's also no personal guarantees with business advances, which a lot of people don't really get or understand. No restricted industries, and we can get really flexible and creative here. We have terms that go out to 24 months. We can go up to about $5 million using your future sales. So some really neat product when utilized the right way can make a ton of sense. It just depends on what you're looking to get accomplished.
So when you say, being business agnostic or unrestricted to businesses, being here in Colorado, a green state, not that I'm a proponent of recreational marijuana, it's not my thing, but there are things like CBD, cannabis-based industries, where a lot of great things are being done with that, and banks won't touch it.
Correct. So
great option for them.
Absolutely. We utilize a business advance all the time for cannabis space. We do fund the cannabis space. And whether it's CBD or THC, that industry is, it really has started to take off. So a lot of the term loan products are bank backed, where you can't utilize those or get those done. So we'll go this route. And then sometimes there's just really unique situations or other industries that are not bank favorable, where we'll look at a business advance and utilize it as necessary. And a lot of people think when they hear like a merchant cash advance, sometimes those sometimes depending on the lender, it can actually be when you're working with the right lender, can sometimes be less expensive, and there's no personal guarantees. So it just really just depends on on the lender and a number of things. But we kind of explain that when we're on the phone with customers. And sometimes we can bring multiple options together, and then you can pick that option. So equipment financing, really great. And a lot of people will go and utilize a credit line to go buy equipment. And it's really one of the worst things that you can do. If you've got a credit line on hand and you've got to move fast, okay, I get it. But when there's specific lenders to specifically finance individual pieces of equipment. So let's just say you're going to buy a truck, or you want to buy furniture in your business, or an IT rack, or any type of IT equipment. If you have cars in the business and you've kind of capped out at financing through Ford directly, or if you're construction, and you need to buy any type of yellow iron. So what's really great with equipment financing is you basically can finance the individual pieces of equipment. Because it's secured by the equipment, there's terms that usually go out to 5 years and monthly payments and very low rates. And what's so important about this, if you're doing a new office build out, you can finance all of that furniture and not lay any money out of cash flow. But what's really important is when you utilize equipment financing, is it's secured against that piece of equipment. So you're not locking up your cash flow. If you went and did a credit line or a term loan, it's going to lock up your cash flow. If you finance the equipment specifically, you can leave your cash flow or receivables unencumbered, so you can do a credit line and other types of financing side by side with it right now or down the road if and when you need it. And that's really key. And we see a lot of customers that'll take a term loan out or a credit line and then go buy equipment, and then their cash flow is locked up, and they probably would have gotten way more better rates at a much longer time period to repay. So it's really important if you're doing any type of equipment purchases that you don't lock up your cash flow. But the other cool thing is when you finance equipment, you can leverage a lender. You can finance that piece of equipment, and you can still decide to, and this is where you have to talk to your accountant, but you can potentially write off that equipment and depreciate it all in year one and not have laid any money out of cash flow. So you get that tax credit right back in the form of depreciation, which is really cool. And a lot of people don't get that. So, if you kind of like thinking about doing something, it's a year end or right now, and you're having a really good year and you're looking at buying, any type of equipment in the business or furniture or whatever, you can finance that, still pick up the depreciation, not lay any money out of cash. And that's how people really use financing as tools to either reduce tax liabilities or not crush the cash flow. So most business owners we find don't really get this or understand it. And the equipment rates right now are, good credit, decent time in business. You're looking at like 4, 5, 6%. So the rates are really, really competitive. And if you're able to depreciate it, it's way cheaper than income tax. All right, so we're just going to go through some quick success stories here. A general contractor, we do a ton of general contractors. This customer was having, issues, as you can imagine, buying materials due to the supply chain shortages. They landed a large contract, didn't want to slow down. And we were able to get them, we did a business advance for $50,000 and a $25,000 line of credit. These are very simple, quick and easy small deals for us. We've got both of these done in 3 business days from application to financing. So we move fast. A pharmacy, a customer, they're in business for 15 years, great credit. They're looking to purchase a second location. They were working with their bank. Their bank was taking forever. And they were going to really miss out on the opportunity. By buying this second location, it was going to bring in gross revenue of $2.5 million. And we were able to get them $150,000. And I think we did this again in about 3 to 5 business days. This was over a 24-month repayment period. Made a ton of sense. Unique business. It was a brewery, major issues and losses due to COVID, as you can imagine. They were applied, and they applied at other lenders, got turned down, had some existing financing out there. We were able to get them $85,000, and we did it in one day. And they had an opportunity to expand and move into the space next door and basically 3x their revenue. So we're able to get this done and get them back on track. We love seeing this stuff, especially the hospitality industries that have gotten effective. To see them get back is really great. Next one up, another restaurant. We do restaurants. A lot of lenders don't love restaurants. We are big fans of restaurants. The client was looking to open up again another location. Would it be their 3rd location? And it was a second location. They have plans for their 3rd location. We're working with them on their 3rd location now. We did a $1.1 million term loan over 24 months, and this was not secured by real estate. And I just want to explain that, getting someone approved for, over about $750,000 without real estate is not an easy thing to do. And there's not a lot of lenders that will do that without real estate or without taking equity in your business. So we were able to get them $1.1 million in a restaurant industry, opening up their 2nd location. We're working with them on their 3rd. So this was like a really, really awesome deal. Customer was super happy. And it's going to help them, get that new location open and bring in more sales. So medical spa, this was a really unique deal. They had a big challenge getting equipment financed on this, because medical spa equipment is not the most favorable, but we did a 16-month advance against their future sales, $65,000, application to funding, 2 days. So this was again a real great, quick and easy one. And that's the end of end of the slides. And would love to open up to some questions. I'm not sure if anyone's dropped anything in the chat.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much for that, and really appreciate your perspective on everything, because I think as a lot of people, hear about these types of options, they don't really understand the granular details and immediately almost cancel themselves out and say, I don't know if this is going to be a fit for me. So I'd love to jump over to Carol's question. Carol, if you're there, and Dan, if you can spotlight her, that would be great. Carol, why don't you go ahead and unmute? And one of the areas of practice that we have, as you know, Joe and Dominic, is serving the needs of the startup community. And while startups can be pre-revenue, low revenue, that type of thing, many of them don't understand what could be done in this area of financing. And Carol's got a great question here. And I'd love for you guys to just help her see how you can be able to facilitate and maybe help her along. She's got a remarkable business that's helping the needs of folks that are getting chemotherapy. And why don't you just tell them a little bit about your practice to begin with, Carol, and go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah, so we are, really redefining how cancer patients experience treatment, because, our common core value is that unnecessary pain and suffering should not be the price of survival. So we are in development phase. We have collaborations with Baylor University, University of Texas, and University of Vermont, but we're in development stage, so we're pre-revenue. We went out and did a lot of customer discovery interviews, so we know we are filling an unmet need. Our projected revenues look great once we launch products. We are using the same core technology to address different problems. So we'll launch our first product in 2024. And then because we're leveraging technology, sales, and marketing, we'll be able to launch new products every year after that. So, but we're in development stage with pre-revenue, and everything I've looked at in this area has a revenue requirement. So is there anything you can do for someone like me?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking the question, Carol. It seems like it's really cool what you're doing, so that's awesome. So a few questions. You're not buying any type of existing business, right? Like you guys are really just creating your own new company for this, right?
Correct.
Because if you were buying an existing business, even if you didn't own one with 10% down, you could go SBA. But is there like a lab or any type of testing or anything like that? Like, is there going to be equipment that you're looking to purchase?
No. So in the early phases, we are working with Cortex Design in Toronto to do all the engineering. Then eventually we will bring that in-house. But for the early stages, we're using an outsourced engineering firm.
Okay. So for these type of companies, especially, are you creating like a medicine, or is it more of like a
medical devices?
Devices. Okay, got it. So, in this type of business, any type of getting money for anything that's pre-revenue is the most difficult. Again, if you're buying, hence the question. So if you're buying an existing business, you can use SBA for that, again, with 10% down. If there was equipment, we could leverage your personal credit and finance the equipment and use it as collateral. You still might have to put a little bit of money down, but still it can help. But in this case, it doesn't seem like that's necessary. So in this like R&D type of business getting started, there's two ways. One is it seems like going and raising some equity is really going to make is probably what you're going to need, and especially like if you need money to like start developing things. It seems like that could be a 6 to 12 month type of process, and then revenues aren't going to be coming in. So even if you can get somebody to give you debt, it still seems like private equity makes sense, because you're not going to be like, it's not like, all right, give me $1 million, I'll build this thing out 3 months and then money's coming in. So this seems like a business where equity does make a lot of sense. But the only other way is basically to leverage your personal credit, personal loans. There's companies out there now that you can probably leverage $50,000 to $100,000 of a personal loan, personal credit cards, or credit cards through the business. I mean, that's really like, those are the only options that are out there. Or like, doing some sort of a friends and family round. Seems like for an industry like this, it makes sense. And you can keep looking around, you can keep applying, but you're probably not going to be able to get much more than $100,000 type of a personal loan from one of the personal loan platforms. It's not really, it's not something that we do focus on. We really stick to business and companies that are, have revenues, or you're looking to buy an existing business that's profitable. So, and you can really go talk to anybody out there, but a lot of people will take an application. You're just going to waste time. It seems like raising some money is going to be your best bet for what you're looking to do.
Yeah, and those are all the avenues I'm pursuing. I was hoping you had some magic solution.
Yeah, it's a big question. It's just hard because whether it's a personal lender or a business lender, they're just going to look to, when you give, like, giving money, it's like, how are you going to repay? And then can you handle it personally or on the business? So yeah, it's a tough one. It's the toughest thing to get done.
Yeah,
We're in the
thanks.
process of helping her with some capital now. So
Okay.
and many others that plug into us, where we help them with getting some capital. Some of them start generating some revenue and things of that nature. And many of them are either on here now or are listening on, we're broadcasting this on YouTube. So there are ways to do that, but we're going to jump over to Iowa. And if we can spotlight him, Dan, if you wouldn't mind doing that. Philippe Rivera with Iowa, he's got a question there. And Philippe, if you can unmute, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, hi, everybody. Hi, Izzy. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, guys, for everything so useful. I'll try to be quick and concise. So pretty much, Iowa Nutrition, it's a company we produce, we develop, we do R&D, manufacturing, and all the commercialization, the distribution of natural premium nutritional supplements. We use DN Ancestral Superfoods for this, and we came out with a few different kind of vegan proteins, vegetable proteins that are not inflammatory. We've already started the company back in 2016. We took 2 years already of product development. We have been available for our commercial operation in Ecuador for this is our fifth year pretty much. And we already enter Amazon in the US, and we are opening about 15 retail chains, a few big names there, Lassens, Erewhon, Thrive Market, and a few others. So our company did last year 230,000, and that's only in Ecuador. And the US is pretty much a 50 times or 100 times bigger market. So the appeal of the product and brand have taken quite a good appeal within consumers and in the US market, and we are doing good as we move into this year. At the moment, we are trying to also expand and, of course, get some purchase order financing and get enough inventory to fulfill the market needs, because it's such a big undertaking to get the amount of product that you need to sell in the US and fulfill the purchase orders for all these retailers, and of course Amazon as well. So we were analyzing a few things, and one of the things we came up with is the DUNS number, right? The DUNS report. And so we have been already company for quite a while, but in the US we're pretty brand new. Our US bank account with Relay Financial, it's been operational almost 2 years, and we have had vendors. We have paid a few vendors and consultants and different types of vendors to get the ball rolling, to get our FDA approval. That we did the financial consulting with Fidelity Equity Partners and a few other vendors. So we have already worked with vendors in the US for almost 2 years. But as commercial operations and sales go, this is our first year. So my question to you is, if we have a pretty, like you say for initial credit report or business credit file, are we eligible?
So thank you. And so are you doing sales in the US, Philippe, now?
We started a few on Amazon right now. It's
okay.
Just started. We just launched the Amazon storefront last week.
Okay, got it. And you need money to buy, I guess, inventory to sell on Amazon?
So raw materials, we are a manufacturing company, so we need raw materials, and then we have to produce, and then we need to ship it to the US, right? Our factory
see.
site is in Ecuador, and our let's say our commercial operations, we have been incorporated in the US already for 2 years now. So, and the American company owns the Ecuadorian company. So we are now, moving forward. We have consolidated financials and all that. We have everything online. We have paid taxes 2 years already. And so what for now is what we want to know is if we are just starting commercial operations, but the company has already been on overseas already commercially available, and we have already a track record. And then we are just starting the US, but we have already been, in commercial relationship with vendors. So we have had paid our suppliers. We just starting to get the sales.
So do you have and we might need a little bit more of an in-depth talk offline, but do you have orders from, any, like, are you looking to sell to like a Walmart or a Target or like a big box retailer, or is this all individuals on Amazon?
No, so both. So we do. We're working with both channels. So we are doing, end consumers on Amazon, and then we are also opening about 15 retail chains. By March, we should have about 15 different retail stores.
So meaning those retail stores are going to be buying from you, or you're opening up the actual retail stores?
Correct. Yes, in California and Florida. Those are our main focus markets.
You're opening up the stores, or there's existing, like
stores.
Existing.
Yeah, so retail chains, already well-known retail chains, Thrive Market, everyone.
So I would say we should talk offline, but if there's an existing retail chains and you're going to have purchase orders from those chains, we can probably utilize those purchase orders and then do some sort of receivable financing and put a structure like that in place, depending on what that chain is and depending on how big the orders are. But that seems like something that we can do. Then once those sales are going, we can look at another type of financing on top of that if needed. But at that point, you might be all good.
So would that be kind of an inventory type of finance, just purchase order financing or inventory?
Yeah, like
financing?
If you got an order from that chain, let's just say for $500,000, we would take that purchase order. You can use it to go buy your goods, manufacture your goods. And then when you got the product into the chains, I guess you would invoice them. At that point, we can leverage that invoice. It would take out the purchase order financing. And then the chain would, once they pay off the invoice, that's when the interest would stop calculating. So, yeah, so it would be like a full circle type of a structure. So that could be something that's possible in order to get you going and kind of get it jump started. And that's something that we should definitely look at.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, because I think that, the biggest challenge is we don't know yet how big the orders are going to get, right? And since it's a much bigger market than Ecuador, we might get a huge order compared to what we are normally acquainted. So then I think we need to react fast. So we want to get it as soon as possible, and then start producing.
Yeah. So why don't you just shoot Dominic a direct message, and we'll take down your info. We'll get connected and see if we can get something done. We'll have to talk a little bit further, and it'll definitely take some more time just to respect everyone's time here. But happy to see if we can get something done for you.
Fantastic. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
As well as I'm dropping into the chat because we're wrapping up here. That's the link that'll go right to our landing page, which is connected with NBC, and they can run through some things with information there. What I'm also going to do is drop in my 15-minute Calendly. If you've got some questions for myself or the team on what could or couldn't work. What I love about NBC, as you just heard, Joe just asking some questions there, and he's happy to take things offline, as will the NBC team, to help you figure out your situation. Because while it may or may not be a fit right now, it might be in a relatively short period of time where you didn't realize just tweaking a few things and being able to produce some things that might help push you over the top could be the answer. And you need that discovery time with myself, Dominic, Joe, Bruce, or any member of the team to help you figure out how you can get some financing. But guys, thank you so much for the time that you carved out today. I know you guys are incredibly busy serving the needs of businesses all over the country. Bruce and I have been proponents of small business, as have you guys. We love serving the startup community. We love serving small business. I know you guys do as well. Also, I know there were some truckers on here as well, which are the heartbeat of America. And thank you guys so much for being the front lines of what's important to be on grocery store shelves and things like that. And there's a lack of truckers and trucks that need to go on the road and things like that. So many of you are driving them right now and listening. So if you have some questions there, carve out the time. If you need an extra truck, I think that he brought up some great points on the best way to do that and facilitate that, because we've heard some things come in before and like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, being a truck driver, that type of thing. So thank you so much for your perspective on that, as well as other folks that have different types of businesses. And you mentioned medical and med spa and things of that nature. And we have clients where we've served those needs. So guys, it runs the gamut. And what I would do is I would just take the time to ask the questions and schedule some time so we can help figure it out. Just don't blow it off as, no, it's not going to be something that works, because I'm sure you guys have those stories. And why don't we close with that, where someone said, I didn't think I could get funding. And then
every day.
Well, if you do it like
every
this,
day.
Actually it'll work. So
every single
with that.
Yeah, every single day that happens. Listen, at the end, and transportation, one of our top industries, we finance trucks. We can provide credit lines. We can help you speed up those receivables. And really, if you don't have a financing structure in place in a transportation business, it's really hard to grow, because you've got to lay money out, pay for gas, pay for drivers. So like you got to have something in place in order to grow. We literally just did a deal for someone. They're a transportation company, 2 trucks. I think they're up to like 25 now. When they started with us, it was a $50,000 funding. We just gave them $1.2 million. So like, wow. and that was like 5 years ago. So it was really cool to see the growth. But every single day, people reach out to us, and they're, we're trying to keep up with the changing of lenders and guidelines and products and programs. I mean, and we see, we complete a few hundred transactions every month. So we see thousands of applications every month, and we get to work with so many lenders at such scale and volumes that we get to see all the changes as they're happening. And then we get to, relay that back to our customers. But the reality is, just like any good business owner, you're good at what your business is. And most businesses don't understand financing, and that's okay. Like, right. You're good at what you do. And that's really where we come in. So, utilize an expert like us. We'll help talk you through it. And we're not this like hardcore sales organization. If you've got some questions, just call us. We'll walk through it. We'll explain what options are out there. If it makes sense today, great. If not, we'll talk in the future. Even like Carol, who's on, we're not really a fit today, but once she does get her sales going and figures it out, like, come back to us. We can give you a credit line 6 to 12 months in of sales. So, I would say just give us a call. Don't don't overthink it. It's a few-minute conversation, and if you don't understand, don't be embarrassed by it. It's all good. Most business owners don't understand all the financing products that are out there.
Yeah. Well, again, Dominic, Joe, thank you so much for your time. Bruce, thank you so much for identifying this incredible company, and we're so blessed and honored to be partnered with you guys. Really looking forward to bolstering small businesses and working with you guys throughout the years. And so looking forward to those future conversations. All right, everybody, we're going to sign off. Thanks again, guys. We really appreciate all you do. Show some love to Joe and Dominic and Bruce in the chat there. Thank you, guys. And we will talk to you guys on the next one. Good night,
Sounds
everybody.
Good.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Be well.
Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for that.